Global markets are deep in the red this Thursday. The CAC 40 here in Paris down over 3%, and US markets have been in free fall since the open. Uncertainty spreading around the world hours after US President Donald Trump announced sweeping tariffs. Exports from the EU now facing levies of 20%. The French president has called the move from Washington brutal and unfounded. Emmanuel Macron has been meeting with the heads of businesses which will be impacted by the tariffs. Let's take a listen to what the French president had to say.
The decision announced overnight is a brutal and unfounded one. Unfounded because you don't correct trade imbalances with tariffs. And the basics of economic theory show the opposite, above all when imbalances do not take into account digital services, to name those or others.
Now, Emerald Maxwell is standing by at the Élysée Palace, and we can go across to her now. Emerald, the French President Emmanuel Macron not really mincing his words there.
Yes, Emmanuel Macron, the French president, said that there was a problem. Trump was right to identify it, but that the solution was wrong and that it was brutal and unfounded, as we heard in that soundbite. And he said that although these tariffs would be good news for no one, no country will come out unscathed. Everyone will come out weaker and poorer eventually, some more than others, because in the European Union, for instance, which is getting those 20% tariffs, some countries like Ireland, Germany and Italy, they will be the most affected. But France too, the US is a very important trading partner for France, and their trade actually represents 1.5% of France's GDP. That's what he reminded all these business leaders who he met today, and as well as with the Prime Minister and several ministers. He said that it was very important now to organise and to remain united with European partners to come up with a united response. It wasn't a good time to play solo, as big companies tend to do at times like this. He confirmed that the EU response will happen in two phases. The first will be in mid-April on steel and aluminium. Those have already been previously announced. And the second will be later on in the month. On all goods and services, will be a much larger packet of tariffs. He said also that the EU should suspend its investments in the United States as they work things out. And he also emphasized that the EU needed to be more productive and accelerate its decarbonisation because it depended too much on carbon, which it didn't produce itself. He also warned against unfair competition as an indirect result of those Trump tariffs on Asia, because, of course, the Asian markets will be looking for new customers. So he warned against unfair competition coming from Asian countries.
Now, Emerald, we have to remind our viewers that France is the second largest economy in the European Union. Just talk us through what sectors will be impacted by these tariffs from Washington.
Well, of course, all the famous ones, the champagne and wine and cognac sectors, the luxury goods sectors, they will also all be affected. But actually, the biggest export sector to the United States, the French sector, is aeronautics. Airbus, for instance, they are there in attendance today in the meeting with Macron, the French Prime Minister, François Bayrou, and a bunch of ministers as well. They represent 18% of total exports in 2023, they represented 18%. Pharmaceutical products, there'll be representatives from that industry today. They make up around 9% of exports. There are also representatives from the mining sectors, agriculture, automobile and electronics sectors. All of these have very grave concerns because the last time Trump imposed tariffs like this in his first term, it was on selected French wines. Well, during that time, their exports plummeted by 25%. So they're really looking for support from the French government, reassurance. And the president of the French Employer Federation, MEDEF, said that although the priority remains, of course, firm negotiation with the United States, they were looking for support measures for both France and Europe. And that's what they would be reminding the French president in this meeting today.